All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Crystal Hairston. I'm the Director of Operations for the Danville, Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce. I have with me here this evening Oliver Bergeron with CI Destinations. Oliver and CI Destinations, they CI Destinations stands for Chamber International, and they work for with chambers all over the U.S. To book international travel all over the country. Our chamber has worked with CI Destinations since 2015.
2015.
We've been working with them for 10 years, a whole decade now. I calculated we've taken almost 300 travelers all around the globe to different destinations. This is a fundraiser for our chamber. And so we really appreciate you coming out tonight to learn more about our trip to Scotland. And that will be departing in March of 2026. And Oliver has
2026.
2026, yes. And Oliver has a presentation for us this evening, and he's going to share all about the trip to Scotland. If you have any questions, please save them, and we'll give you time at the end to ask any questions, either via audio or you can place them in the chat.
Take it away.
Thank
All
you.
right. Crystal, thanks for that introduction. Thanks for inviting me out tonight. I see some familiar faces. My name is Oliver Bergeron. I'm the owner of CI Destinations. And Crystal nailed it. CI stands for Chamber International Destinations. And we've had the privilege of working with the Chamber since 2015. And one of the things I love about Chamber travel is the places we get to see together and share together on a global experience. It's just amazing. And it all started with a little trip to China 100 years ago. But with CI destinations, there's some things that really make our trips very special. One, we make sure we stay in great hotels that not only great hotels, but have fantastic locations. And with this program, we're unpacking one time, staying in Edinburgh, and venturing out every day. And it doesn't get much better than that. Another thing that really puts our programs aside from others is our programs are fully tour managed. Now, that is so important because that means you have your own personal concierge holding your hand as you're taking in all the highlights that Scotland has to offer. So when you land in Edinburgh, you'll go to baggage claim. Right outside of baggage claim, you'll meet your tour manager, and she's going to be with you for the entire duration of the trip. They are fantastic people that live in the destinations that we're traveling, and they are there for you to really enhance an already great program. They're there not only as your tour guide, but as your personal concierge. So if you're looking for the best uh, dinners to see or the best entertainment, they'll give you the direction. And I can't say enough about our tour managers. One thing that's different from a tour manager to a tour guide, let's say you're in Sterling and you have a tour guide that's with you from like 9 to 4. And they're only going to be with you for a day. So their commitment to you may not always be the best. Now, a tour manager, they're going to be with you every single day of the trip. And like I said, they're there to enhance an already great program. But my goal for our tour managers, and it sounds silly, but it certainly clears the air with regards to gray area. I want them on your Christmas card mailing list by the third day of the trip. They are people. They are there for you. So hotels are important, tour management is important, making sure we've got the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. I've been on those programs where I say you're running and gunning. You're out the door at 7 and you're back at the hotel at 8 or 9, and by the third day you're like, oh my goodness, I've seen so much, it all blends together. With CI destinations, we have that perfect balance where, sure, we're going to see some amazing cities, but we're also going to have some free time that's very liberating in the city centers that we're touring. So you have that nice balance. So that's some things that make up a great program. And before I jump into the beautiful images, I'll just say we enjoy a 98% repeat business ratio. And the secret is it's all in the details, making sure our travelers just have a fantastic experience to where you come back and you're like on the fourth or fifth day of the trip, and you're saying, geez, Crystal, this is fantastic. Where are we going next? And
Exactly.
over 300 people have traveled with the Chamber NCI destinations since 2015. I did not know that number. That's a wonderful stat that I will certainly be sharing. But once you've traveled with us, you become part of the CI Destinations family. And we just take great care of our travelers. Let's go ahead and jump into this. I'm going to minimize this so we can see everything. It'll take me completely out of the picture. So of course we've got a flight we're flying from, most likely Raleigh, Durham. On the brochure it says Raleigh or Charlotte. We will have a change of planes somewhere along the way, usually in Amsterdam or Paris or maybe Munich, and then arriving into Edinburgh. And for those folks who know me, one of my goals is I like to get our travelers there a little bit on the earlier side so you get a little bit more out of that first day. And we'll be traveling via deluxe motor coach. And our motor coaches, they're typically 3 years old or newer. Just a great way to get around and take in the sights. Traveling via deluxe motor coach means you get to sit back, relax, and enjoy the sights as we go through the city centers. And there's a motley group of our travelers here, a lot of happy, smiling faces, and it's all about making sure those details are taken care of for you. So, to keep your experience and the quality on the higher level, we've included what we call the Whisper system. Now, this is a wireless headset that allows you to hear your tour manager from up to 250 feet away. Now that means you don't have to huddle around your tour manager saying, "Wait, what did she say? What are we supposed to be looking at? What did I miss?" That scenario is in the rearview mirror. With the Whisper system, it's all about elevating your experience. So we'll be staying at the Voco Edinburgh Haymarket Hotel. Great four-star property, city center in Edinburgh. And there's over 164 hotels in Edinburgh. This is rated 37. So it's a great hotel. We've been using it season after season, year after year. It gets great reviews. And I always like to include a few shots of, the public areas as well as the living quarters, just to give you an idea to set your expectations. And this program's special because you actually are going to be able to unpack. You're staying in the same property for 7 nights. So you'll be venturing out every day, always coming back to the same great hotel. Now, part of venturing out, you want to make sure that the sites we aren't seeing aren't too far away. So, to give you an idea, um, Stirling is about 32 miles away. Glasgow is 50 miles away. So everything is in very close proximity to each other. And here's one of our chamber groups as they're experiencing and touring around the beautiful Royal Mile. And here we are in the Haymarket district with a shot of the castle in the backdrop. This is a great area where you can actually be immersed in the culture. And Edinburgh's a wonderful city to be touring. We're going to be taking in an area called the Princess Street Gardens. Now, on the right side is the entire public park, and it actually was developed in two phases, one in 1770 and one in 1820. But this takes you right through the city center of Edinburgh. Before we drop into Edinburgh, we're going to see Calton Hill. Now, this is the bottom right here. Is a shot of Calton Hill, and it's giving you a view of the city of Edinburgh below. So we'll actually have an opportunity where we can go here and take the same great photo looking down into Edinburgh. And of course, one of the highlights of Edinburgh is the Edinburgh Castle. And here's one of our tour managers showing us as we're going through the entrance to the Edinburgh Castle. Now, for you folks, it's nice for you to know you will not have to spend time in line while your tour manager purchase admission tickets. You know, the admission tickets are purchased so far in advance, well before you're even on the plane. And I like to tell our travelers, I recognize the biggest commodity in our travel programs. Well, honestly, folks, it's our travelers' time. And I don't want to waste a minute of your time in line purchasing a silly admission tickets going into the Edinburgh Castle, which has a history of over 3,000 years. Now, the weather this time of year, you should be in the mid to high 60s. Really great traveling weather. We always go into Scotland in March and October. One, for the weather, and two, because it's the shoulder season, so it's less crowded. So you get a little bit more out of your experience. And here we are inside the Edinburgh Castle. We're also going to be taking in St. Giles Cathedral. Now, this was actually founded in 1120. It's like you're walking back in time, and it's situated right on the historic Royal Mile. And we'll actually be going inside, which is equally breathtaking. Edinburgh's a great city, and it's nice that we start off with a fantastic city tour, taking in really all that Edinburgh has to offer. We're going to take in the Palace of Holyrood House. Now, this was Her Majesty's official residence in Scotland. And I like this, just gives you a good idea of the directions and whatnot. Of course, here is the palace, and we will be exploring 14 of the historic state apartments within the grounds of the Holyrood Palace, as well as the Holyrood Abbey. We're going to take in the Georgian Newtown, which is another historic part of Edinburgh. Here's the Newtown as well. As we round the bend, we're going to come up upon the Royal Mile. So you can see Edinburgh is really a thriving, energetic city. Around every turn, there is activity. And at the head of the Royal Mile, there's the statue of Adam Smith. He's one of the royal city centers of Edinburgh. We're also going to see the Scottish Parliament building at Holyrood. So there's so much to see, and we start off, of course, with that city tour of Edinburgh. So, when you have free time, you can go back and further explore. I know folks are going to enjoy dining on the Royal Mile. And here we are at the Holyrood Park. And this is the central park of Edinburgh, Scotland. It's about a mile or so just east of the Edinburgh Castle. So this is a great day. Enjoy the touring. In the evening, we'll be have time to go out to dinner. And this is just one area where your tour manager truly shines, in that she knows the best restaurants, and in the same breath, she knows which restaurants, more or less serve the masses, the ones that aren't so concerned with quality. So she's going to be your guiding light when it comes to dining. So now on day 4, we're going to go into the Leith district of Edinburgh. And we're going to experience the number one attraction in all of Scotland. The number one, and it's the Royal Yacht Britannia, which was home to Her Majesty the Queen and the royal family for over 40 years. from 1954 to 1997. The Royal Yacht Britannia actually sailed over 1 million miles. And we'll have a full tour of the Royal Yacht Britannia. And again, the admission tickets, they're already purchased. So you don't have to wait in line because, you know, if you're seeing the number one attraction in all of Scotland, there's going to be a line. And we're going to get to actually go through the bridge and learn just how the Royal Yacht Britannia was navigated. And everybody on the vessel, one of the things they really want to see is the Queen's cabin. This is where the Queen would actually lay her head. So over 1 million miles were logged, taking care of the Queen and the royal family for over 50 years. Equally interesting to me, we'll be taking in the engine room. And we're going to learn about the tender. This is all tenders are commonly referred to as a water taxi. So when the Royal Yacht Britannia would drop anchor and want to go into port, they would use the tenders as you see here. And we're also going to be visiting the Royal Sailing Exhibition. And this is the racing yacht known as the Royal Bloodhound. So everything we're going to see in the Royal Yacht Britannia, the tenders, the Queen's cabin, everything is original and it's on loan from the Royal Collection. And that's just a great day. So then we'll venture back and enjoy the evening in Edinburgh. The next day, we're going to make our way over to Glasgow. Now, Glasgow is only 50 miles away, and it's here that we're going to enjoy a panoramic city tour, seeing the happy marriage of culture, style, the activities. Of course, we've got the local with the bagpipes. We'll also be taking in the George Square, which is in the city center and named after King George III. We're only 50 miles away from our hotel. So we're going to leave right around 9 and we'll be in the city of Glasgow right around 10. The breakfast, they typically start right around 7:30 or so. And what I love to do, you know, I'm an early riser, so I'll have like a nice breakfast and I'll grab a cup of coffee and I'll walk the streets of Edinburgh. And then I'll meet the group promptly at 9 o'clock when we start our city tours as we go throughout the itinerary. So got off the path here. We're still in Glasgow, and here we are at the Glasgow Cathedral. And this was built before the Reformation of the late 12th century. So again, the Gothic architecture is amazing. So in Glasgow, we're going to take in the Kellingrove Art Gallery and Museum. It's one of Scotland's most popular museums, and it actually has 12 themed rooms with state-of-the-art galleries. And again, the admissions is taken care of. And as you go through the itinerary, every day is going to be a true highlight. And I think what will happen somewhere along the way is during your free time, you'll even experience more highlights. So we're going to also experience the University of Glasgow, the fourth oldest university in Scotland. And it's one of 4 ancient universities throughout Europe. We'll also have some free time in Glasgow before we return to Edinburgh. But when we get to Edinburgh tonight, it's going to be a treat because we're going to have an evening filled with Scottish entertainment, the Highland piper and dancers. We may even see Crystal out on the floor. Here's a shot of one of our groups enjoying the evening at their Scottish entertainment night. And sixth day, we're going to take in the fourth railway bridge. It's a cantilever bridge right over the Firth of Forth in the east of Scotland. It's about 9 miles west of the city center of Edinburgh. We'll also be taking in Falkland. It's a small village with a population of just shy of 2,000. You'll see the Falkland Palace, the only royal palace in the care of the National Trust for Scotland. And this dates back to 1501. So from Falkland, we're going to go over to an amazing city, sure to be a highlight, and that is the city home to golf known as St. Andrews. And here we are on the old course of St. Andrews. So for those golfers there, St. Andrews is divided by two courses, simply known as the old course and the new course. If there are golfers in the room, you can possibly golf on the new course, absolutely not on the old course. And from St. Andrews Golf Course, we're going to scoot on over to, well, let's take a shot here, to St. Andrews University. And this was formed between 1410 and 1413. So you're really starting to feel the rich culture and history that Scotland brings to the table. So we're still in St. Andrews, now at the university. Now we're going to make our way over to St. Andrews Castle. And this dates back to the 13th century. And these are the ruins of the castle. So now we've got a day at leisure. We're on day 7, and having a day at leisure is nice because you can pick and choose what you want to do. You can enjoy Edinburgh on your own and sleep in, maybe go golfing, or we do have an optional tour that goes into Stirling, and Stirling's only like 32 miles away. And so you have the choice of having your day at your own, or participating in an optional tour going into Stirling. And as we get into Stirling, we're going to see the statue of Robert Bruce. And this is the entrance into Stirling. And of course, one of the greatest things in Stirling is the Stirling Castle. It dominates the skyline from honestly just from miles and miles away. And we'll have admissions into the castle, of course, along with your tour manager, taking in and learning all about the Wallace victory over the English in 1297. So the movie that comes to mind as we talk about Stirling in Scotland is Braveheart with Mel Gibson. And here's the royal ruins of Stirling Castle. And again, like I mentioned, the admissions is already taken care of for you. And it's so nice to know that you've got the same tour manager taking you through the entire itinerary so that you don't have to waste time meeting another tour guide and going about it that way. The quality just goes through the roof when you have a fully tour managed experience. And before we bid farewell to the Stirling Castle, we'll see the National Wallace Monument. It's one of the most distinctive landmarks that sits on the Stirling skyline. So on day 8, of course, we're going to enjoy our breakfast. There's a hot buffet American breakfast every day. And today we're going to go into Kelso. It's a market town right on the Scottish borders. And it wasn't really until 1975 when it really took off. And we'll see that the Absher's house. And of course, right connected to that, what we're looking at right now is the Melrose Abbey in its magnificent ruins on the grander scale. And this dates back to 1136. It's like you're walking back in time. And here's one of our chamber motley groups. We're bidding farewell to our experience in Scotland. And one of the things I love about these meetings is we start off the meeting, not everybody knows everybody, but by the end of the Scotland experience, we are one big happy chamber family. And we've just taken in just the amazing sights of Scotland, including, of course, the Absher Castle, as you see here. And then we'll make our way back to Edinburgh, where we have one more night to go out and enjoy dining, the skyline, the evening. And then the next morning we bid farewell and we make our way back to the glory of the United States. So let me go ahead and take this off. Open this back up. And I want to go. So this trip goes March 24th, 2026. It is definitely a bucket list destination. Scotland's a very, very special place, and you folks will have an incredible experience. You do need to have a valid passport. This must be valid for up to 6 months upon your return. So this trip, I know everything's close in proximity to each other. On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being, my God, that's 100 miles a day we're walking. This is not a 5, but it's a good 3.5. So there is no ADA in Scotland. Leave that back to the United States. So you'll be walking on uneven streets, cobbled stone streets. I always talk to our travelers about what you're walking on. Be aware of what you're walking on. It's not that it's challenging, just got to be aware of navigating through the streets of Edinburgh or Stirling or Glasgow, um, things like that. And my friend Crystal here, she's going to be taking care of the group, but she's pretty much strictly traveling in a social capacity. That's where your tour manager comes in. If you need to make some reservations or something, or you have a concern, you want to take that up directly with your tour manager. And then usually 2 to 3 weeks prior to departure, we'll have a document meeting where we'll go through your travel documents. And I've been doing this for over 20 some odd years. Um, almost half of that with the chamber. And I'm proud to say I think we got some of the best travel documents in the chamber industry. It's a nice 20-page booklet, really will answer all your questions before you even get on the plane. But we'll have a little meeting. We'll go through your travel documents. We'll talk about what to pack. We'll talk about luggage. We'll talk about electricity, currency, cell phones, you name it. And we'll get all those questions answered. I think I just saw something pop up in the chat. Debbie's ready. Diane's ready. All right, we're ready. It
I
is a
actually,
spectacular trip, and I can tell you, I'm amazed. I love that 300 passenger thing.
yes,
So we won't have 300 people on this trip. We'll
right.
probably have somewhere between 20 to 30 or so. I know
Yep.
Crystal's already taking reservations. Um, One of the most challenging things about the reservations are the single rooms. Those are always fun to talk about. So I'll talk about those.
Yes.
So in Europe, and for those folks who have traveled with CI destinations, single rooms throughout Europe, first, they're limited. Second, they're smaller. They're designed for single travelers. And third, they cost more. And I just like our travelers to know that up front so that when you get to your hotel and it's a single room, well, it's designed for one person. And when I say they are limited, the hotel really does limit the number of single rooms they have. I mean, every room is pretty much designed for double occupancy. They do have a handful of single rooms, and they've given me 4 of them. So we have 4 single rooms available. And once those are gone, those are gone.
And one just got reserved today.
One just got reserved today. The other thing about the single supplements, so they're smaller, they're limited, and they cost more. For the single supplement in Scotland, when I say they cost more, it costs $950 extra to have a single room. So if you're a single traveler looking to save money and you want to have a roommate, just let us know and we'll put you in touch with other single travelers. We won't pull the trigger and pair you up with people. That could be detrimental to me and Crystal. Um, but we'll put you in touch with one another. You guys can go have a cup of coffee and see if it fits. And if it fits, great. You just saved yourself $950. And if it doesn't, well, that's okay. It didn't work. So.
Right. Awesome. Any questions?
So if
This
you
is Kathy. So
register,
you
go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay? I was going to say you said there would be a change of planes in either Paris or Amsterdam. So there's no change of planes stateside. We go straight from Raleigh to Amsterdam or
Yeah,
Paris. We
most
don't have like
likely.
a
I mean, it might be
Boston.
a change of plane stateside, but that would probably be New York or Newark. Most likely it'll be on the international side.
Okay, because I'm not looking forward to a 5-hour layover somewhere like Boston and then turn around and have a layover in Amsterdam or Paris.
No, you wouldn't have 2 changes of planes.
Okay.
So if you register by July 31st, then you get the early booking discount, which is $42.99. After July 31st, that price does increase by $100.
Also, I will be in the office all day tomorrow and Thursday for anybody who wants to come by to do their application in person and drop off their deposit. But we will be closed Friday for Juneteenth. Just, I know it's a day late, but we have an event Thursday.
Okay, and this program's open to friends and family of the chamber. So if you have, a friend or a cousin, maybe in Orlando or Salt Lake City, or maybe even Fresno, California, we could fly your friends and family from their preferred cities. They do not need to fly to meet the group and then jump over the pond. So if they want to fly from LAX to Edinburgh, we can make those arrangements for them. They just need to write the word custom on their reservation form. We'll reach out to them and see what kind of custom arrangements they require, and we'll make it happen for you. If you want to fly in early or extend your trip, we can accommodate that. If you wanted to do a back-to-back trip, I've seen travelers go from one trip of ours to another trip of ours. We can do that too. So if you want to customize, just let us know and we'll make it happen.
And again, this meeting has been recorded, so if you would like it to be sent to you, or if you have any friends or family that you would like us to send it to, we'll be glad to get it to you. Also, for those who are not local and you want to reserve, I can email you the application if you haven't received it, and you can mail your application with payment directly to CI Destinations if you would like.
And the deposit is $450. How do I sign up for this trip? Well, you complete the registration form on the back of the brochure and send that along with your deposit payment check payable to CI Destinations. And then Crystal will forward all that fun stuff to the office. We'll send out a confirmation packet, including frequently asked questions, passport information, insurance information, and additional information about that one optional trip to Sterling. And then if you have any questions, you'll have the direction of who to contact here at CI Destinations.
How is payment set up for the trip so far as once you pay the $450, how do you guys take in If you don't pay,
So
if we don't have the full 4,000 to pay at one time, how do you make the payment set up?
No, you don't have to do that at one time, and you can if you want, but you don't have to. So what you would do is you make your deposit, and then the final payment is due 120 days prior to departure. Right around 130 or so days prior to departure, we'll send out a invoice, and then you pay off of that. If you make payments between now and then, whatever payments made will be reflected on that invoice as credits. And then I'll take it another step further. If you want to do your own air, to have travelers that say, okay, I'm going to book my own air. I've got 1,000,000 miles. You can book your own air, and then you'll get a $900 air credit per person. So if you book your own air, just write own air on your reservation form. We'll reach out to you to make sure you're booking your own air. And then if you do book your own air, you want to get into Edinburgh on the earlier side, because if you get there early, you can participate in the transportation free of charge. It takes you to the hotel. If you get in late after the group, I can't hold the group up. We can make arrangements to have a private driver take you to the hotel, or you can Uber, whichever you work, but we can all work that out down the road.
Not that it'll be in effect when we go in March, but what are the issues with vaccinations as far as travel with you guys?
Right now, there are none.
Okay.
Any other questions? Wow, we got through this one pretty quick.
What time is it? Wow. We did.
So if you do have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. My number is 434-836-6990, option 1. Or you can email me at crystal@dpchamber.org, and I'll put that in the chat. And I think we do have one question in the chat. What happens if a ban is issued for area?
Okay, so it depends on the ban, but if it's like a State Department ban, then they deem you not to go, then you can't go. Really depends on the level of the ban, I guess.
Okay.
But
So
my business model, and Crystal knows this, if I can't send my mom, I'm not going to send someone else's mom.
Right.
so far as travel insurance, can we get that through you, or is that something we'd have to get separately by ourselves, or how would we do that?
So we'll send out a travel insurance information with your confirmation packet. I highly recommend it that you purchase travel insurance. I like a company called TravelX, but you can purchase any company you like. I like TravelX for a couple of very solid reasons. One is they cover your immediate family. Now, what does that mean? That means your siblings, your spouse, your children, and your parents. So if something happens to someone in your immediate family, you can cancel and get all your money back. They don't have to be traveling with you. Something happens to your immediate family when you're traveling, you're on the first plane home on TravelX's dime. So that's huge. They also cover pre-existing conditions. Now, if you purchase the insurance within 21 days of when I process your reservation, or we process your reservation, pre-existing conditions are all covered. What does that mean? Well, I have epilepsy. So let's say I don't purchase the insurance within that time frame, and I have a seizure the day before the trip and I can't go. Well, I've just lost all my money because I chose not to get pre-existing covered in a timely fashion. If I did purchase it within that 21 days, any and all pre-existing conditions are covered. Something happens to me, I have a seizure, I can't go, I'm refunded the total amount of the trip cost. So pre-existing is important. Third, they allow me to get involved on claims. Now this is huge, because if something happens and it's overseas it's nice for you to know I can jump in and file a claim on your behalf. I had a couple in Ireland. Gentleman broke his hip on the first night and had to have emergency surgery. Was in Ireland for a couple of weeks. Had to be medevaced back to the United States from Dublin to LA. So within 10 minutes of me finding out it happened, and that was about 20 minutes after it happened, I called Ruth, the wife. I said, Ruth, I know what's going on. I filed a claim on your behalf. And she started to cry. I said, well, what's going on? She goes, I was so scared. I didn't know who to call. I didn't know what to do. I knew something had to happen. And I didn't even know if I purchased insurance. Well, the insurance company sends me a list of who has it. So if something happens, I can get involved. If you purchase ABC insurance company, I can't. So that's huge. Now, the other thing I was going to say, I was in top stop about Travelex, but the other thing, so that medically equipped plane, that medvac plane that got him from Dublin to LAX, $129,000, and Travelex wrote the check because they have over $200,000 in medical evacuation. That's huge. I mean, their insurance was man $300 or $400, the best money they ever spent. So but you can purchase any insurance. That's just what I like about travel insurance.
All right. Well, if there are no other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap this up for the evening. I've got a list of everyone who attended, so I'll be sending out the recording. If you have any questions, please give me a call or send me an email, and we hope to see you all soon.
All right. Have a wonderful night, folks. Thank you, Crystal, for putting this together.
Absolutely.
And if you have any questions, just give us a jingle.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.